welcome to the Spiritist Society of Melbourne. My name is Thiago Cometri and I'm a volunteer with this group. Tonight, I'm going to share my understanding to the topic, the right time. I'm a student of this philosophy, and what I will expose tonight is my understanding of the topic under the lens of this philosophy. It might differ from other members of this group, as well as other students of this philosophy, since it's aligned with my current knowledge on the subject. Are you respecting your own time? Or someone else's? The meditation tonight will be based on this book, Changing Attitudes, written by a Brazilian medium, Francisco do Espírito Santo Neto, and dictated by the spirit named Hamed. As the title says, by changing our attitudes, it proposes us to perceive life in a different perspective. And on the Spirit's book as well, which contains the principles of Spiritism, according to the teachings of spirits of high degree, transmitted through many mediums across the world, then received, coordinated and codified by Allan Kardec. So, the Gospel according to Spiritism, which contains the explanation of the moral maxims of Christ in concordance with Spiritism and their applications to the different circumstances of life. There is no anticipation or advancement in life. Only the right time for everything. Nature gives us with a countless variety of flowers that amaze and fascinate us. Certainly, we don't depreciate them, thinking they should blossom at a determined time, or even think of punishing them if their colors were not the same, following our own and stricter point of view. We don't compare them to other flowers from different gardens, thinking they are or are not as beautiful either. We simply allow them to germinate, to grow, and to blossom according to their own nature and rhythm. That is an obvious thought, isn't it? Why do you usually think and act differently with humans? Spiritism, this spiritualist philosophy, says that we are individuals with the main objective of progressing spiritually towards perfection and at the same time being co-creators. So I'd like to explore a little bit this statement. So it says that we are individuals. This philosophy states that we are spirits, so souls, that was created simple and ignorant and has the objective to reach perfection. But how this happens? There is a concept that wasn't created by this philosophy, but I think it was very explained, which is reincarnation. So reincarnation concept helps me to open my mind to see a big picture and understand that my soul is in a spiritual journey, progressing towards perfection. So this happens through many existences in the corporeal life, which is the one we are living at the moment. So the experiences I'm going through during this life, during this entire life, will help my spirit or my soul to progress, to be better, to reach perfection. Because of this existence, this is building and forming an unique identity. I'm an individual. My spirit is an individual which is unique in the whole infinite universe. The same as with yourself. Everyone is unique in the whole universe due to our own existence and experiences. So, with this in mind, we can proceed with our main topic. This will help us to understand the entire presentation. So, talking about family and friends, which are spirits as well, right? So, each of these members in our social networking or even family um, members are a spirit. So, everyone have the same objective of reaching perfection. Everyone is have some difficulties and problems that sometimes is hard for some, but the same situation for others seems to be very easy to deal with. And why this difference? So everyone have the opportunity to evolve using this the current existence to develop themselves. If you have a difficulty or a problem that is hard for you to go through, but for me it's easy, I see that with a different way, which is I judge as easy to go through. I would suggest you what I would do if I would be in your shoes, but I cannot judge you. That's my opinion, and you are living your own experience on that. That's because sometimes that is hard for you and even for your spirit, because maybe in your whole journey that is a new thing for your spirit and actually doesn't know how to deal with. But that this moment is an opportunity for you to learn and to learn that experience, to learn that situation. For example, you are suffering because you are so selfish, or you're so proud, and then you can see that this behavior is making you to have some difficulties and problems. So you need to go through and to develop um, and improve these points to make yourself better for yourself, because the journey is individual, right? Everyone is in different levels of evolution. Your parents, your kids, your siblings, your relatives. So what is easy for you could be hard for others, right? And everyone is helping each other during this existence. So you have your parents who has been helping you to grow up. It gives you advice, and you do the same with your kids. So everyone is helping each other. The same with your relatives. When you are in a meeting, family meeting with all your relatives, those moments like maybe Christmas break, um, or even like the birthday party of some a grandparent or a grandparent. So that's a good moment to reunite all your family, and you listen the experience that each of your relatives are going through, or maybe a few, but you can listen and see the difficulties and problems they're going through, or the success they have been doing, and also you can share your part as well. And this sharing helps each other to see things differently from different perspective. Someone come to you and tell their problem, and you say, wow, I thought my problem was bigger than anything else, but that is really serious or a real problem. So it helps you to think about life in general, and that can helps you to develop your own points. You know what I mean? So everyone one day will leave this body, but much better will be better than when it starts this existence, this life. So when we go back to the spiritual life, we'll be a little bit better. We should be learned a little bit from when we started. But what we cannot forget is that, according to Hammad, everyone has their own individual target on life, and we are not allowed to change their way to understand. Comparing them to others or making them grow and evolve as we think they should. So we are all different externally, and the way we dress, we smile, talk, look, and express. Why should we have to blossom in a fast way? We have to respect people's possibilities and limitations. It continues. Humanity in general receives the seeds of spiritual growth all the time. Divine organization sends us progress and development ideas, and every individual must absorb those seeds according to their possibilities and skills. Progress towards perfection and at the same time being co-creators. Do you remember that? So we are unique in the whole infinite universe. And for this reason, we have unique skills as well. Our anxiety doesn't make trees grow fruits in an instant. Not even it makes rose grow faster. We have to we have so much to contribute and within our possibilities and limitations. We don't need to force people to be different. Even when we think, well, why that people don't understand this? Or sometimes with maybe brothers and hey, when will you grow? So just think. So understanding now that people are not alike, we can identify some kind of them. So people of blocked and restricted mentality who refuse any knowledge possibilities that might contest them or anything that might modify their lives or interfere in their existence horizons. These are people with small or almost no understanding or acceptance at all. If we need to discover ourselves, to understand and accept all our imperfections, then work on these points. What about these people who were just described? With this description, have you thought about someone else or about yourself? Sometimes we can play this behavior, right? Being like that, don't accepting any input from anyone else, just thinking that we are right and we are the owner of the truth, let's say. But everything that people says could help us to improve always. I particularly think of when people tells me something about myself. I try to see that in a very constructive way, because with all this knowledge of spiritism in mind, I just changed my way of thinking, and I started thinking of, okay, what is the main objective? What's the reason of my life? Why I'm here on earth? And of course, this philosophy brought me many answers. So there is a purpose of life. It's not just being myself and spend my time because that will finish one day and that's it. So just live day by day and do the best I can. For what? There is a big reason. Now I think differently. What people say about me, what people think about me, sometimes I don't know. But what I want to do is to be better always. So maybe sometimes I'm one of these people, not listening, not accepting anything. Also, individuals who don't think for themselves end up failing into rules and norms domains that not being able to raise their minds very much, restricted by ideas that sentence them to live in a group frustration, given that their reasoning degree cannot surpass the levels permitted by community. We can see social ideas that close human beings' mentality, such as religion, politics, among others. We are thinking beings. We have the ability of reasoning, and we should question everything.
I was religious.
And I had questions and never got answers. And many times I couldn't even make some questions. That made me very frustrated. That's why when I was a teenager, I just couldn't understand a lot of things from the religion I used to practice, and I just gave up. I didn't want to know about religion anymore. And when I met my wife, this was a long time ago. She just introduced me to this philosophy, Spiritism, and then studying all the books of this philosophy, I just got the answers that opened my mind in such a way that I could see things and life from a different perspective. So my point of view had changed. My opinions, of course, because I developed that based on the content I got from this philosophy and thinking. And of course, we have to understand things. We have to question everything. That will help us to build ourselves, to understand life, to try to understand life at least, to build ourselves. So our psychological bases are gathered in yesterday's experience. So in previous lives, they are roots of the past and gives us the strength to go ahead in the present in the internal enlightenment process. So we need to go inside ourselves and understand, discover who we are, accept our imperfections. Not only accept, but when we accept that, we just make that part of us. And then automatically we start changing our attitudes. We start acting differently because we already accepted that imperfection. That helps us to act differently, naturally, and that helps to develop our self-awareness. When these themes are not rooted deep enough, there are blockades both in our intellectual and emotional conscience levels. We all have an internal mechanism that helps us process only what can be digested from the information we receive. So we are all progressing towards perfection, each one its own rhythm, and this process is quite long and slow. As I said, when we leave this life, we go to someone else. We are eternal. In my understanding, based on this philosophy, life continues. So there is something beyond. And when we leave this existence, will be better than when we came, when we arrived. But for that spiritual journey to reach perfection one day, that process is quite long and slow. This experience here is what helps us to jumping and progress fast or not. It depends only of us accepting all of that imperfections, understand, make that self-awareness. The ability to understand how things really work depend on potential and evolution feasibility. So imposing on people, they have to be sensitive or they have to progress. It's more than just disrespect to their individuality. It's a dangerous and destructive factor that can terminate any kind of relationship. Have you terminated any relationship with like friendship or even a wedding? Have you broke that because you you just asked too much from your partner, even from your friend? We do that all the time because we don't know about all this stuff. So we become disrespectful. And when we judge, mentally judge people about their actions, we're doing the same. And as everything starts from our thought, we are already doing that. Even that we don't say. But when we are talking to a colleague in our office and we explain things that they don't know, and we are thinking, oh, how you don't know that? That's so simple. I'm explaining you this every month and you don't know how to do yet. Everyone have its own time, its own rhythm to understand, to learn. We just need to respect because we are in the same way. There are things that we can't understand. It's hard for us to understand. Sometimes people act like this against us. We don't know. Ahmed continues. Our understanding and distinguishing assets don't occur by chance. So no learning will involve us deeply if we don't have the necessary competence and skills. Good absorption or conscious opening only takes place if we are not stuck to the form. Example, you know the story of knowing which screw to turn? So I'll tell you this story, which is quite short. The huge printing presses of a major Chicago newspaper began malfunctioning on the Saturday before Christmas, putting all the revenue for advertising that was to appear in the Sunday paper in jeopardy. None of the technicians could track down the problem. Finally, a frantic call was made to the retired printer who had worked with these presses for over 40 years. We'll pay anything, just come and fix them, he was told. When he arrived, he walked around for a few minutes, surveying the presses. Then he approached one of the control panels and opened it. He removed a dime from his pocket, turned the screw 1/4 of a turn, and said, "The presses will now work correctly." After being profusely thanked, he was told to submit a bill for his work. The bill arrived a few days later for $10,000. Not wanting to pay such a huge amount for so little work, the printer was told to please itemize his charge, with the hope that he would reduce the amount once he had to identify his services. The revised bill arrived. $1 for turning the screw, $9,999 for knowing which screw to turn. So, experience and skills that this man has accumulated throughout 40 years of his life. That is what gave to this person to know what to do at the second time and with the situation he had. Imagine ourselves with the experience that our spirit already have throughout many and many existences. So our spirit, our soul, already have a lot of skills and competence to go through few situations and to succeed. But for others, it's a trial. It's a new experience. It's a new situation. I need to go through as well. For some, easy. For others, really hard. That's the same with everyone. We are not who you think we are, but a product of multiple existences. Imagine how many experience and skills you have accumulated from past lives. In order to be really, Ahmad continues, in order to be really perceptive, one's conscience needs natural awakening and psychological maturity. You know that some some things is quite easy for you, or you identify yourself, you have some abilities that is like a gift for you, and you can explore that gift because actually that is something from your spirit, that's something from yourself, and you can develop that even more. But also, as it already said in this presentation, we all have our individual targets, and maybe that skill that you already have is just to help you with your individual target for this existence and all the hardships you are going through, and everyone is going through, is to help your spirit to develop new skills. To finalize, we have to accept the human diversity. Ahmed says, understand that the best help we can give our partners is to wait patiently and in silence. Time. What I had to present tonight, I hope this could help you to have a different perspective of life, at least how we see ourselves and also other people that is part of our lives, our relatives and friends, and also colleagues and anyone else that cross our path. Thank you very much for watching.